Uh-oh. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so we'll just jump right into it. Thank you guys and dolls for showing up. Appreciate it. The show is every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you have no idea what time that is, just look at the clock right now. That's the time it is every Thursday. What I had said earlier was this Monday is a holiday, and I don't know if everybody gets it off, but I have it off. And what I'm hoping to do is get a stream going on Monday as well. So follow me on Facebook or Twitter. Just go to my website, jonathanrector.com, if you guys aren't on there already. I'm sure you are. And guys, just keep track of that. I'll post on Sunday. You know what I mean? If we're going to get something going on Monday. Don't want to say it's happening for sure. I would like for it to happen. So, yeah. And the last thing I'll say real quick before we get into it is this show is for you guys and you dolls out there. So if you guys have any comments, questions, or anything related to comics, or maybe you need a little bit of help, and maybe I can help you with it, love to be able to do so. Just leave a question in the chat. All you have to do is leave it in capitals. That way, when I scroll up and down, I can see it. It'll jump right out at me. And because I like to ramble sometimes, and then I can't see what you're saying to me. And I don't want any sad puppies anywhere. So, yeah. So what we're going to be doing today, if there's no questions or anything like that, going to be drawing these panels here, obviously. Let me see something here. Oh, you guys are saying, like classic lag. Welcome to live lag with Jonathan. Yeah, it seems to clear up after a little while, so I hope it does. But I'll just start drawing for the next 5-10 minutes, and let's see if it fixes itself. Alright, so we got a big beefy standard here, so we're going to get him going. This isn't gonna work. This is not what he looks like. Hey Alec, how's it going, man? Get that big sexy nose in there. I'm just going to flip it here just to make sure it's looking good. Get some of that lip action. Alright. So let me know if the lag clears up for you guys as well. Just so that I'm on the receiving end of it, so I know what's going on your guys' side as well. And I had posted a picture on Facebook earlier this week. And, I'm always looking into ways to improve workflow, get, more things done, that kind of stuff as best as I can when I can. And if there's a way that I could manage time better and focus energy and stuff like that. Something popped out right away that for some reason I forgot about, but I remember I used to do it when I was drawing with an Intuos, one of those tablets there. And that was a standing workstation. And for the Cintiq here, I bought something called an Ergotron. It sounds like a Decepticon or something cool, but what it does is you can basically rotate the Cintiq any way you want. Up and down, left, right, A, B, start, select kind of stuff. And what didn't click in for some reason is it can't go all the way I would like to, but I can stand while I'm drawing with it. And personally, I noticed like a big improvement in being able to focus. And you guys know that I keep complaining all the time about my job Not the job itself, but working on a computer, you're sitting all the time. And, I don't have the best glutes in the world, so, the support isn't where it should be. So it starts to really snap my back up and stuff. And, like, right now, my back's on fire. But we're standing, we're trying to build those muscles back up. But needless to say, I've been looking into maybe standing desks. And the prices on these things, oh, God. No thank you. So I'm throwing the question out to you guys out there. Do any of you use standing workstations? Do any of you look at it like I did? No way, Jose, those prices are crazy town. So you kind of looked into making your own, a do-it-yourself kind of thing. If you have, maybe you got some resources or something you could throw out there. Okay, so we got our first question tonight by L Bridge Inc. Hey, Jonathan, is there a particular reason artists flip the image while drawing? Sure is. When you're, or I don't know if there's any science. I'll give you my bro science version of it. From how I was taught, I used to never do it, but a really cool artist that really started to get me, thinking of drawing a little bit differently. He showed me drawing with like a mirror. I'd never even thought of that, but the idea of it is let's say I've been drawing this guy right here for like the last 10 minutes. You get used to looking at it. So just by flipping it or grabbing a mirror, things usually pop out right away that you might not notice because it's a new image to you. You know what I'm saying? So if you've ever looked at somebody's drawing off the first crack and you're like, ooh, that arm's a little long. If you drew that, you might not have picked up on that, but as soon as you flip it, it's a brand new image. Hopefully, you look at it and go, ooh, the arm's a little long. And you're not so far along that you can actually make that fix. So in this case here, what jumps out right away, since I flipped it, is there's a tangent. And what a tangent is let's say we have a shoulder going into a bicep, tricep, forearm, wrist, okay? Cool, looks great. But what I do is I start to have the pec maybe following like this kind of line and going here. That looks great, but once you get like an opposing line going in the opposite direction, okay? So let's say I'm going to give this guy a belt. Well, that looks fine there, but if I had like his arm going this way, and I put the belt up like this, you see this point right there? Right there, that's called a tangent. It doesn't look weird, but your eye, for some reason, likes to stare at that. I don't know what it is. So a quick fix, just lower it. And for some reason, that looks better. You don't just stare at that. That corner's not there. So that's a tangent. So what's really cool about using a mirror is tangents usually pop out like that. So right away, the first thing that jumped out was this line right here. I've got like his mask coming down into the side of his face, which is blending right into his chin, which blends right into that neck muscle. So when you look at it, you guys might be like, that's all you can see. So what I'm going to do is, I've got a couple of options here. I can move his mask in like that. I'm thinking of giving him an even bigger chin that pops out over all those things. Or I could just move his neck muscle in. I like the big thick neck muscles and I like the big chins. So we're going to give him a bigger chin. A nice Bruce Campbell chin. So hopefully, that line's still happening. So I could go in there and fix it some more. I may as well. So the chin didn't really do it, so I'm just going to move his neck muscle in a little bit. Let's see if we can just get a different shape. So now that looks, to me, looks much better. I don't know about you guys. So when we flip it back, not that you would have noticed that, but it still looks fine. So that's from what I hear why people use mirrors. I would highly recommend doing one with yourself if you have it. Just grab a mirror that you can get at like a dollar store. Just keep it on the side of your desk. If you're using Photoshop, you can go image adjust or image. I think it's edit canvas rotate or flip horizontal, something in there. And I have it mapped to a hotkey. So every time I press like F2, the image will flip. So every now and then, just take a look at your drawing, and it helps give you a little critical eye for seeing it all the time new. Rempo was saying something great there too. It helps you notice the mistakes that you have when drawing. That's basically it in a nutshell there. And Pop Cultivation is saying he or she doesn't have a workstation. I have a coffee table and a TV and a couch. And you got to work with what you got. So, if you're able to get something, what might help you as well if you can. I used to do this as well. It said you went off to dinner, but hopefully you're still there so you can hear this. Or maybe somebody else that's listening can hear from it. But I used to just get boxes and literally stack boxes until it was like my height so that I could put something on that. It looks tacky. It looks like shit, but posture and stuff is great. And if you're looking for ways to give a little boost of energy, I would highly recommend trying that out. Okay. Back to this big hunk of guy. And you guys might know a cat that comes in here all the time. I don't know if he's in today. Probably not. Robson Inc. That's what he goes by when he comes on here. He just sent me a really cool... we like to talk every now and then on Facebook. And he gave me one of the coolest updates I've had in a long time. It was one of those ones. I don't know if you guys have ever had this, or at least recently. I hope you do. If you haven't had this, I hope you get it soon. But it's somebody tells you something that you already know. But just by hearing it, it clicks again. Where you think differently, but you're thinking the same. You start to apply the thought that you had. And what he had sent me, actually I'm going to do a YouTube video on it. He asked if I could do one, so I'm going to honor that up and do it. But all it was just breaking down shape. How can you show somebody how to draw something dynamic, or not even that, but like let's say it's just somebody standing at 3/4. How do you draw that? Some people, they like to start with a skeleton. Some people, they start to get lost in the anatomy side of things. They don't break the structure down. And a good example of this would be if you've ever read, and I'm assuming a good chunk of you probably have, the How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way. There's a little section in there where he starts to draw things for people. And this is basically how his people will look here. Let me just move it over. So let's say you had, I don't know, a guy standing 3/4 like we said. So I like to start off with the rib cage, find the center point, just kind of, get the bottom, carve that part out. I like to give myself a little bit of idea where the perspective is, so I'm not worried about it too much. The top here is where the neck's going to pop out. And right here, you see what's happening? I'm worrying about structure. Don't worry about that. What you're looking for is the expression, the anatomy, and the chunks of muscles that you can get in there. But you need some of the keystones in there, right? So we need the bottom, we need the top, and we need the little sockets like on your action figures where the holes are for the arms. And then I'll just kind of throw in the abdomen area and like the underwear shape. And what's cool about this, and the one thing he talked about, and I will talk about this in the YouTube video, is that it's not just about following like how I'm drawing or following that Marvel, any tutorial that you've ever read. It's not just about following those things. It's about applying them, but inventing your own shapes, like inventing things that help you better, that help you tell yourself the structure that you need, So in this case, I'm really going to throw that perspective out there. And it's primitive. It's nothing too special right now, right? And that's all you need. It's just doing pages and pages of this. Because once you have this, throwing the anatomy and stuff over top, this is where all your anatomy practice and study is really going to shine. Because this part's the easy part for some people. Some people, it's still a little bit more complicated. You just need to do a little bit more studying. That's it. But this stuff you can just start stacking on like your little football shapes or whatever you need for your perspective, right? But just thinking of like shapes like that, it's going to help you figure out your structure. It's spending the time to actually grab your sketchbook or grab some computer paper. That's what I like to use for my sketchbook. And finding these tube shapes and stuff that sell well with you, You could watch what I'm doing here, learn something, which I hope you do. And then destroy what I'm doing, break it apart, try to figure out exactly what it is I'm doing, but how you can make it understand for you. And I know that probably sounds pretty cryptic, but like a quick example is like these tube shapes. You know, like a lot of anatomy books, they'll show you. It's like, okay, make your tubes like this if his arm's going to the side. You know, like, but that's, to me, that's stiff as hell. Let's give some life to those tube shapes. You know, make them, get some of that energy in there. Translate that stuff. Put your head in there. But like once you have all that stuff in there, you know what I mean? Like you can just, okay, let's throw in the bones. Let's get that kneecap in there. There's a kneecap there. There's a triangle shape up there. Yeah. And then you can get your football shapes in there. Just start going crazy with this stuff. Just to get an understanding of where your muscles are going to be over top of that. But that's the easy part, honestly. And I mean, the fun part is this stuff right here. To me, this is the stuff that's really cool because you could like this doesn't take long. However, after you guys and people out there that might not be doing this too often might take a long time to do. You might be still locked into doing just like literally this, like a circle. What's with that leg? Ugh. A circle, let's just say it's a guy standing straight. And you might have to go like this slow, you might have to, and then you're like, that doesn't look good, I have to erase that. Never erase, never ever erase. Just draw over it. What it'll teach you to do is to draw lightly, to draw very light so that you can always redraw or thicken your lines up after, Always draw light. Like here, I'll try to draw real light here for you guys. So you can see it, like let's say I had this leg over here. This guy's doing something over here. I don't know what's going on with this leg. Maybe he's walking at us, and I had his arm here, like that. But I don't like that. I want to have his arm maybe coming at us. Never erase unless it's getting so messy that you can't understand what you're doing. Okay, maybe I like that one. So now you can go in there and you can get your little football shapes or whatever you want to call them. You can start to break that stuff down. You can pick the lines you want. That's the whole point, is picking the lines you want. But anyway, I don't want to get into this right now because this could be the whole thing. Unless you guys want some more of this action, keep it going. But Robinson Inc., that you guys know, that pops in here every now and then. He's the one that we just started talking about it, and he was really excited because he was saying, like, I finally figured it out, the secrets of the universe kind of thing. And it was, he knew this stuff. You guys know this stuff. We all know this stuff. This is like when you grab Andrew Loomis and all that figure drawing, for all it's worth, any anatomy book, they're going to eventually show you how to break something down into its simplest form. The problem is the simplest form is how it worked for that artist. What you're responsible for and what your job is to look at that and take what you can. Take what sounds right to you, what feels right, and keep building on that. Keep building on that and pushing yourself. But continually look at new artists. Don't look at a new guy every day to try to learn basics. Personally, I would probably break it down into do the book that they give you. So, and I've talked to you guys about this before, and I know a lot of people, they don't really like doing this, but you know what I mean? I get it, but grab your Andrew Loomis book. Start from page 1. Read everything that's in there. Don't just draw. Read it. Try to see what he's saying. You might not understand it. That's fine, but try not to rush yourself. Read it like a real book. When you're done, grab another one. Grab a Bridgman book. Complete Guide to Drawing from Life. Cool. Go cover to cover on that one. Grab the Michael Hampton book that I talk about all the time. That figure drawing design and invention. And then maybe rinse and repeat. Go through. Spice it up. Grab a comic book. Draw a page cover to cover of all the panels inside with just those scribble shapes. I know it sounds crazy, and you might not have the time to do that. I get that. But if you can figure out some way to sneak in 10 minutes in your day, maybe when you're watching TV with your significant other or right before bed when you get a little punch energy, find time to like try to treat yourself right. There you go. But yeah, I thought it was we just had a really cool talk. And it's refreshing every now and then to hear, people getting jazzed about the work they're working on. And then when it spills into like conversation, it's like addicting, And as soon as Will was done talking, him and I just grabbed a paper and I just started drawing, and it was fun, It's been a long while since I won't say it's been a long while since I've had fun drawing, because that's not true. But drawing stuff like that. And actually, what he was referencing when he was drawing that stuff was Buscema, I believe it was Sam. I think it would. It's horrible that I can't remember his name. Sal Buscema, John Buscema. I want to say it was John. John sounds good, but I think he was looking at his Savage Conan stuff. And that's like the old school way of drawing, you guys. Like, that's old school comics. But there's something so awesome about that. And that's the other thing, too, is I know a lot of people, probably in this chat, myself included, love anime, love manga. And you want to trace it and draw it because you want to draw that. I'm not going to tell you not to do that. I'm not going to tell you anything about how you should progress as an artist. All I can do is give you my opinion. And it's your call if you want to, take my opinion or, just tell me to go screw myself. All of those are valid. But I would highly recommend only looking at manga and anime or Disney cartoons, anything like that, as a style reference, not a how to draw. I'm a big believer of trying to draw realism. I don't mean hyper realism, but realistic drawings to a point. And get as good as you can with that. But at the same time, keep drawing your anime, your manga, your Disney, your comic book stuff, your superheroes with giant muscles. Draw that stuff too, because they do tend to meld. They tend to mesh. And before you know it, you're starting to feel comfortable in your lines. You're starting to, get some pretty cool stuff coming out. And that's when you know what you're doing is right. If you haven't been feeling that, like if you're drawing and it's just like not clicking and you're just continually hitting walls and you feel like you're not getting better, then that's a problem. That's, something that you need to reassess what it is you're doing and make the change, All right, this guy's anatomy is way jacked up. So I'm just going to, let's see if I can find a layer. Yeah, I'm just going to select it here and fix it. His hips are way too big. Maybe that's a little better. And I should probably fix this guy's legs too, or his whole lower body. Okay, so that's right. Actually, here. There you go. Get that underwear on there. Cool. I'll worry about the back of them there once we get to it. I'm going to get those fingers later too. Okay, so let's work on the standards costume here. Did you guys happen to hear about the new Robocop comic coming out? I read that today. Frank Miller's adaptation or whatever that was taken and what they used for Robocop 3. I don't know if you guys are fans or if you've seen it, but Robocop 3 is like, it's atrocious. And so from what my understanding is, what I quickly read, is Frank Miller's original script is going to be turned into a comic. So essentially, it's the real Robocop 3. And the premise, from what I hear, is the police are gone. The police have all left. They've all given up, basically. And now the street's run by OCP and a bunch of Ed 209s. And it's up to Robocop to take back old Detroit. I'm in. I'm pumped. And there was some artwork that was that they posted around. I think it was on Newsarama or iFanboy. Hey, Zelda. And I think there was a picture that Frank Miller did, and it was like, I don't know, it looked like, it was just black and white, right? And Robocop was all white with his mouth being black. It's Frank Miller. I'm in. I love anything that guy touches. But I just thought it was kind of cool just hearing like Robocop anything right now. And I mean, I've seen the stuff for the new one. I don't know. What's that? Is Robocop 3 the one where they build more of them with psychotic villain brains inside them? No, that was the second one. Second one was okay. It wasn't. The first one to me is amazing. Robocop 1, holy F, man. It's like right up there with like cream of the crop 80s, you know? Just cool. Okay, so just to let you guys know as well, if you guys got any comments or questions, feel free to leave them in the chat. Just put it in all caps so that I can see what you guys are saying. I should probably give the standard eyes so he's not so creepy looking. Let me just grab the script. I close it. I think he's telling Fabulad he's proud of him. Or he's listening to him talk. I don't know. I'll have to double check in the script there. Just to make sure if I have to have him with his mouth open or not. Okay. Let's get the rest of his costume. Okay. Zelda. Ugh, what happened there? Alright, let's just take a look at him, see if how he's... He looks kind of goofy. Let's fix his mouth here. Oh, that was looking pretty ridiculous. That doesn't look that good either. Ugh. I think it's the eyes are freaking me out. Here, we'll give him some Ninja Turtle mouth and we'll just walk away. There we go. Okay. Much better. Okay. Yeah, man, I don't like 80s movies. Like they're the best movies ever. I don't even. There's some movies that have come out. No, there's a lot of movies that have come out since the 80s that are awesome. But there's something so I don't know pure about the 80s. It's just like let's just talk about lasers, neon, cyborgs, fast cars, hot ladies, guns, explosions, apocalypses having apocalypses, snow, droughts, aliens from outer space that capture skulls as trophies, aliens impregnating people and popping out their chests that come out. Like, cyborgs sent from the future, cyborg cops. What? Arnold Schwarzenegger? I'm done. I can't. I'm gonna have an overload. So good. Alright, which layer are you on this? Mass hysteria. There you go. Elbridge Inc. is asking again, is it just personal preference that you use Manga Studio instead of Photoshop? And does Freddie Williams' techniques transfer to Manga Studio? Oh, excuse me. I just prefer using Manga Studio because the inking is way better, personally. However, as of late, I've been missing that workflow that you do in Freddie Williams. Not that you do, but what he talks about. And yeah, you can totally do it in here. I can just show you real quick. I'll do it with this one. I'll do it for his face here. So you just get like that 3-pixel brush or whatever that he normally uses, and you would just sketch it like normal. I'm gonna have to make his head a little bigger here. But yeah, it's the exact same workflow. A little different. The biggest thing, if you are familiar with it, with that workflow anyway, is when he talks about getting that white cutout so that you can move the character anywhere you want. Night, John. Is that that part is, it's not impossible. It's just a little bit difficult. Unless you can, I don't know, I've never actually really tried. I suppose you could, yeah, I guess you could. You just use a magic wand tool and it'll still work. So I've never really delved into it too much, so can't really give you a big opinion on it. I don't really like the way his arms are. I just want to try something else out here. Let's see how these guys are looking together. I really gotta fix the standard's face. Oh my god. Night, John. Okay, so we would have that. May as well. What the hell? We'll try it out. We'll use that workflow on this guy here and see how she goes. So let's just grab our marker again. Just want to make sure we got the. That's about the right size. So what's really cool is like that one workflow that you would do in Photoshop, that Freddie Williams guide. Like let's say we're going to do the eye here. You're stuck with like this kind of thing, which is fine. And then you would go over it with a pressure sensitive brush and do all this stuff. That's cool. The problem is like that area and that area where, to get that nice fine line, you have to kind of like draw outside of it. Whereas if you just started with that, you get that line right off the crack. Now, the problem is everything's pressure sensitive when you're doing this one, right? So you can't get a nice, normally consistent line like you would if you were using markers in real life. Or pens, I should say. So, there's a little, you can always go, back and forth. There's no perfect way. But the inking tools in Manga Studio, personally, I like them much better. Okay. All right. Just zoom out here so we can see what's cool. Okay. So, actually, I forget how his hair looks. So let me, looks like that. Just fold over and then wraps around. Alright, I gotta make this head a little bit bigger. Oops. There we go. What is that lag? What is causing that? Do we got any X-Files fans in the room? I just started, I know this probably sounds ridiculous, but I was taking a break one night and on Netflix, I saw X-Files, and I've heard so many good things, I just figured, you know, what the hell, let's give it a shot. I'm hooked. Show's amazing. Oh, you think it's the, yeah, it probably is the stream causing that lag. Oh, that looks looks horrible. All right, let's do this over again here. No, like I've watched. I think I'm about to wrap up the first season, but like I don't know some of those ones, and I know it's an old show, and I know it's all whatever, but it was freaking me right out. Usually my routine is watching at least an episode of Seinfeld before going to bed, probably with dinner. But you gotta spice it up every now and then. I saw the X Files, and I'm a big conspiracy nut guy, so I figured this is the show. Let's give it a go. And if it's my understanding, there was movies made as well, right? So I've got to check when they came out, when I'm supposed to watch them, when they fall. I think there was 2 movies, if I remember right. Oh, really? Eh? Are the movies just not that good, or? Okay. All right, so we're at the 40-minute mark, which means we got 20 minutes left. And if you're a new viewer in the chat, by all means, if you do have a question, you need a little help or anything like that, feel free to ask it in the chat. Just leave it in all capitals so that I can see it. It'll stand out there. Get that bicep in there. All right, let's try to fix this hand. Look at that. Look at that lag. Oh my god. It's like only when I'm using this blue pencil. It's crap. Yeah, the only thing from the X-Files that I remember, like movie-wise, was one of them was them running across ice, and it was breaking underneath them. And I could be wrong. I don't know if there is two movies. I just, for some reason, think there is. And I may have seen that one. I'm thinking that I did. There was something about some, I don't know if it was Russia or something like that. People were basically organ thieving, but they're doing something with the organs. I forget what it was. And Larry P is asking, John, how do you know which point size to use for your brushes? It's easy to see on paper, but it's harder on the screen. If you're using Photoshop or Manga Studio? Oh, thanks, Ink. Okay, so he's asking about Manga Studio 5, but both. I don't know. In Photoshop, you can press caps lock, and you'll see the size of your brush. It's not doing anything here in Manga Studio. Let me just see if I increase the size of the brush. Yeah, so nothing really changes there. I'm sure there's a setting, but I don't know. I always use the exact same thing. Size is 1.20 millimeters, and it's the Maru brush. Sometimes I might go a little bit lower if I need to get really fine detail. Usually, though, I just use that one. And with pressure sensitivity, right, like I can get that thin of a line, and then I can get like that with the same brush. And those two, usually it's, you know, I don't need to go too far either way. I can get some nice rendering going. Whatever you need to do. So yeah, I use a Maru brush, 1.20 millimeters. Probably doesn't answer your question. Oh, no, I mean when inking foreground, middle ground, and background different. Oh, okay, sorry. Actually here, I'll show you this one panel up at the top here. Okay, let me just turn these off. Okay, so this top panel here I've been working on. We got the standard, and he's punching this guy in the face. Okay, so I haven't actually done any of the foreground elements here yet. I just had that one outline on them. So let me just turn off the rough layer. There's still a lot of work that's got to go into this, but I'll just make a new layer. And it's basically, just think of it like stacking. So whatever thickness I choose to use for this front one, nothing in the back or the middle ground can be that thick. So usually in this case, because I'm working in Manga Studio, I can't really reduce a line. I can only add to it. So I use the background layer as my guide. So I might go in here and add a little bit of a thickness to the standard. So actually here, we'll just do it. We'll just do it right now. Just going to make this just basically drawn over the line, keeping some of those lines a little bit straighter. Just where they start to get a little bit thinner, like here. I'm not going to do the actual inking just yet. Just worrying about the line weight. All in here. So now that I have that, that means this line has to be thicker. And you can kind of see I'm already getting a little thicker. So I might actually... what's that? I think I'm going to move the ink as digitally... Sorry, whoa, I can't read that. I think I'm going to make the move ink digitally as much as possible. Make the move to ink digitally possible. Okay. By all means, knock yourself out. Hopefully it works for you and you have a good time. There's a lot of benefits I find in working digital. But something like this, I might actually beef up this thing so when I don't have to crush my hand to get a thicker line there. I can just feel kind of whatever. And I might turn the correction on here just a little bit because the bigger it gets, sometimes your line gets a little bit wobbly. So I have my correction set to 10. I'm going to zoom out here because I don't need that much. And again, just pressure, pressing when you want. Gets a little bit of variation in there still. Unless it's the style you're going for, you might not want to have the exact same thickness all the way through. Again, just to make sure you understood me. It's the style you're going for. Some people, they like to ink with just like a micron pen. With a micron, you can't really get too much variation. So you're kind of stuck with, the DC Comics Guide to Digitally Drawing Comics, that workflow, which is an awesome workflow. And you can always grab your pressure sensitive brush afterwards and like dress it up a little bit. But if you're working with a brush like I am right now, you have to be a little bit more mindful of where you're pressing heavy and where you're not. So again, we're going to put one right around his head here just to make his head pop up over his body a little bit. And that correction's actually bugging me. Might turn it off. Yeah, look at that. That looks like crap. Look how round that got. No way, Jose. I want sharp lines in there. Yeah, that looks way better. Yeah, I'll just get the other side of his body here. And once we zoom out, hopefully all this stuff will be stacked so you can see it a little bit better. The last piece of the puzzle is this guy right here. I don't know about you guys, but I hate drawing straight lines in Manga Studio. In Photoshop, you can just click some spot like that, hold shift and click, and it'll make a straight line connecting those 2 points. I think Manga Studio 5 actually does that. But in this way, or in Manga Studio 4, the only way I know about getting around that is just turning your correction all the way up to 20. So see, yeah, we're going to need a bigger line here, so I'm just going to crank it up here. Maybe not that much. We'll go a little bit lower. Don't want to go too nuts. And you just do the contour of it. That's what this is called, the contour line. This outline. And what you would do after this is whether you want to use your marker tool or a brush. I would recommend a brush with pressure sensitivity turned on. And I'll show you why in a second. So that we have all that, what I would do from here is this, where I would actually start to ink, where you see these lines, how they just, it just looks like a dead contour line and a nice, or a faint line. This is where I would grab my pressure sensitivity and just kind of get heavier towards that shadow. And it just kind of breaks up those lines a little bit out of the contour. And you'll see, I'll zoom out so you can see it. And I usually do this for pretty much every intersecting line. That all up in here needs some love. all of that does. I'm not gonna. I'll do that later. I just want to show you guys. So if I just zoom out on that, you can see kind of what those lines help to do a little bit. And then if I just zoom it all the way, now you can see like what's popping up over what. You know, you might like it, you might not. I like to. This is another benefit of working digital, right? Layers. So I can just turn that off and be like, you know, I kind of like that a little bit better, or you know, it's not quite where I want it. You just turn the layer off. Do it some more there. You could use a line tool for making straight lines. I have used that. I just don't like things taking time. Whenever I have to click something like, and this is totally, you know, artist crying mode here, but even hitting this correction box here at the bottom pisses me off. I'd rather just be able to just, you know, hold shift, because my right hand, you know, is just holding the Cintiq. It has the ability to go onto the keyboard. So in Photoshop, I can just start doing that stuff without really thinking about it. Inkbot says he likes to use the rulers. If you like to use rulers, go ahead. Again, the faster I can get things done, the better I like it. So, you know, that's just a personal preference there. And we got 10 minutes left, so any more questions, feel free to throw them out there. I'm going to actually end this out with a little bit of inking. So I'm going to work on some inks to this guy here. I like to ink with like just making the shape of where the black's going to go in, and then just fill it afterwards. So it's this giant tricep here. Alright, so we can just fill it in black. Pretty easy there. I think what's that? Manga Studio Pro 5 is coming. I don't know. I think I've heard people talking about summer. So soon it should be out. I think. I'm hoping. I do have Manga Studio 5. I just don't really use it that often. Maybe I'll use it every now and then if I feel like sketching with like the pencil tool. Real big fan of the pencil tool on the new one. In Manga Studio 4, like this one, and not so much. Yeah, no problem. Let's just get in here and get this nose going. Inkbot, why is it that you don't like the pencil tool? Is it the rastering it does, or you just don't like it as is? I'll show you what I don't like about it. And hopefully I'm just doing something wrong. So if I click the pencil tool, mechanical pencil, it doesn't look at all anything like a pencil. And when you zoom in, it's like half tones. It's just tones. It doesn't. Even if sometimes I would reduce it to like real small like this, but it just doesn't like when you zoom out, it starts to look like a pencil. But I don't know. I've tried, all the hard ones, the soft ones, mediums, just like, and then it does this thing. Like, I don't even know what the hell all that is. Like, look at that. It depends on the layer, is it? Oh, is that why? Oh, maybe because this is just black and white. I think you're bringing up a point here. Let me just check something. Clear that. No, clear it. I think I need a black and white or a gray layer, right? Gray. Let's try it now. Pencil tool. Okay, so that's definitely not what we want. Maybe a color layer. That's horrible. Like, what's that? Depends on the layer. Then pick do not reduce. Where am I looking for that? New layer, then do not reduce. Is that it? Gray layer. Color reduction, do not reduce color. Let's try that. That's a little bit better for the mechanical pencil. But it still does this thing, like, what is that? That looks like a blurry way of doing, like, painting or something. Let me just open Magnet Studio 5. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, this pencil tool, if you're buying this stuff just for, like, a sketchbook, I don't know. There's probably free, I think Sketchbook Pro is probably where you want to go. But, the finished product in Magnet Studio, it's fantastic. So I wouldn't worry about that. Yes, new canvas. So this is Magnet Studio 5. I think I have the pencil still selected. Yeah, like this feels, I don't know what it is. It just feels a little bit better. This one feels more like an actual pencil to me anyway. It's sharp, which is kind of cool. And I'm actually looking for a way to ink like this as well. Because even using the brushes, I don't know. I don't really like building up line thickness with pressure. I'd rather build it up with strokes. All of that sounded totally out of line. But like, I guess I prefer to ink with like a pen as opposed to a brush. You could get in there and you could get some, I don't know, it just feels more like to me it's like a pencil, but. Oh, is it? Sketchbook Pro's pressure sensitivity sucks? That's not good. And you get like this kind of cool effect with this pencil tool like that. Let me just see if I can. Like, look how fine that gets. That's cool stuff. So when you're like, I guess you would, when you're inking or whatever, you could go in there and kind of build it up. Anyway, I could be here all day using this stuff, but actually, like what you're saying is, I think, great. I don't think a lot of people know about that, but yeah, for the pencil tool to work in Magnet Studio 4 better, when you make the new layer, definitely go right here. Just show you guys in case you missed it. So we're going to make a new layer. Right here it says color reduction method. That's grayed out because we have a raster layer, or sorry, because we have a black and white, just 2 bits. Anything above that, I'm assuming. So if we go gray, it opens up. Do not reduce is going to make it look. I don't want to make it look better, but it's going to make it feel better when you're drawing. So I would definitely do that anytime I wanted to use the pencil tool. But yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's just delete that whole layer. Okay, so it looks like the show's done. Thank you guys and girls for stopping by. Really appreciate it. And if you missed it or you just came in towards the end here, feel free to join me next week. Same time, Thursday, 8 p.m. Standard Time. And if it's not 8 or 9 p.m. where you're at right now, just whatever time it is you got where you're at, just subtract an hour, and that's when we start. Like I said, every Thursday. And I might be doing a stream on Monday if you guys are interested as well. So just follow me on Facebook or Twitter, and I'll be posting it on there probably Sunday around this time if we'll be doing a show on Monday. So take care, you guys. Keep reading comics. Keep making comics. We'll talk to you next Thursday, and have a great night.